the next question I wanted to ask you about, which is piggybacking, of course, on the eighth album. One of the things that I've noticed about you is I know you play the harmonica, I know you play the guitar. Most musicians, and maybe I'm wrong, but end up learning, they're like, no, I want more. Let's do the piano. Let's learn how to do this. I saw somebody the other day learn how to do the clarinet. So, in your repertoire, are you increasing playing instrumentation? Is that one thing for you that's going to happen or has?
I should, and I learned early on the single best instrument to learn if you want to compose any type of Western music is the piano, because
Ah,
music theory is at your fingertips. And so you learn music theory without knowing that you're learning music theory. Being I started as a nerdy trumpet player, a single note instrument. And I picked up a guitar because I love pop music and I taught myself some chords. I was living somewhere where I couldn't be blasting my trumpet at all hours. And unfortunately and unfortunately, I remain limited on the guitar. I can pound out a few chords on the piano. I generally turn to others when I want more musical variety. If
sure.
early in my development I had learned music theory, I had taken piano or even taken guitar lessons to learn all the alternate voicings that a lot of my favorite guitar players know, then I think I would be working with a broader palette and my music would have gotten more interesting more quickly. At the same time, there's nothing greater than the 1 4 5 chord pattern, and you know, Tom Petty, one of my favorites, even Bob Dylan. You're not going to find too many alternate tunings or different melodic or harmonic approaches than stuff from the 60s, and it's still amazing and wonderful. But my producer, Kevin Salem, has really broadened my palette by listening to my demos and then finding different voicings. And when you add different chord voicings, whether it be on piano or guitar or what have you,
Sure.
then the lyrics can change and your approach can change because the complexity of the emotion can increase. And like, we did this song Astor Place a few years ago. I wanted an English horn. And he said, no, you need a bassoon. Now, what the F do I know about either of those things? I just like the sound. And I think we ended up settling on a contra bassoon, and it sounded perfect and blended with the orchestration that we added. And these are the colors that you can add if you're working with someone who really knows his stuff. And I'd love to be that person. all I I'm sort of like I'm a good songwriter, but musically as a musician, I know what I want. I just don't always know how to articulate it. Luckily, I find people who help me figure out how to articulate it.
Makes perfect sense. And now I want to talk about technique for a second. Of all the musicians I've spoken to, every single one of them have a different process when it comes to putting together a song. So if you would briefly say to me, for instance, like you were just talking about how you just had an idea for a song, do they come to you generically? Have you found through trial and error various ways to find a catalyst, let's say, for your creations?
Um, when I look for a catalyst, I never find it.
Hmm.
It's the catalyst appears when you don't expect it. Like one of the early um, periods of prolific writing I had was in the 90s when I was in law school, when I was sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night and living on caffeine. All these songs started coming to me on the bus from my apartment to the law center. And this was 1991 or two. So there were no phones to speak into. I'd be writing it down on notepads. And during the lengthy hiatus I had between my first daughter being born and the and about 10 years later, there was a lot percolating in my brain, but it wasn't inspiring me yet. And then it just kind of spilled out. And my process would be, if I have a few clever phrases or lines that I like, I will just type them into my memos on my phone. If a melody comes into my head, I will first sing it into my phone, and then I will rigorously cross-examine myself to figure out, where did you steal that from, Eric? Because I'm constantly coming up with melodies and thinking, oh shit, That's from a Beatles song. That's from an Elvis Costello song. That's
Yeah.
from a Taylor Swift song. And that doesn't mean I have to jettison it. It means I have to make it my own. I need to twist it a little bit. And then if a melody's good enough to be a chorus, then I'll look for the words for it that seem to make sense. Sometimes it'll be nonsense, like when Paul McCartney wrote Yesterday, I think it was scrambled eggs, and he didn't have words for it yet. He just knew he had happened upon this awe-inspiring melody. And not that I have come up with anything remotely as good as that, but sometimes you just got to get it out and then see what you want to put on top of it. Other times it'll write itself, like the song that occurred to me last night is it's called Somewhere Somebody's uh and it's I don't know what it's about yet. And that's exciting. And I love that it's a blank tableau and I just have that phrase and I can build around it and see what it might mean.
Sure. Now, we were talking just a little bit ago about the fact that you have created songs for other individuals, whether it be for, let's say, something in film or a special event and things along those lines. You've also played with a band, you've also played by yourself. Is there anything you haven't done yet musically that's on kind of your to-do list? You know what I mean? Like, before I die, this needs to happen.
Um, there really isn't. This is the time in Spinal Tap where Derek Small said, "I've always wanted to work with the London Philharmonic and a musical on the life of Jack the Ripper, Salty Jack." But no, and this is a testament to maybe why I chose the right day job. I'm not I'm not restless to the point of needing to do amazing new things. I just want to keep writing and making good music. And that could end, the well could dry up tomorrow. And if
Sure.
so, I'm not going to be miserable about it. Um, but no, there are no things I wish I could accomplish that I haven't. If I were doing this for a living, I'd say, oh yeah, I've got to play Madison Square Garden, or
Of course.
I got to get a gold record or something. And as a young man, of course, I wanted acclaim and credit, and I wanted to be celebrated. Now I just want to keep making music that I want to listen to. And thus far, like if that's the judge of my last few albums, the final determinant of whether they're good, do I want to listen to them with any frequency? Then I've made good records. I can't say that for some of the earlier things I've done, but that's really it. There's no Mount Kilimanjaro I need to climb.
Look at that. Well, and I gotta say this, the New York Yankees thing. So the spring training song, I'm loving this. And I'm just like, okay, so how does one get the attention of the New York Yankees? I'm bringing this up. Not only is it a brag point, but more importantly, there's probably hundreds and hundreds of musicians that would give their leg or arm to be like, yeah, they're using this song. So tell your fellow artists out there, how does one attract the attention of a noteworthy individual or organization to try to get their stuff out there?
Oh, it's first create the art because you're feeling it. I mean, I'm not a very good, I'm not a sort of music for hire kind of guy. I need to feel it
Sure.
to write it. And I wrote Opening Day because I was away with my college roommates, and one of them, my friend Chris, said to me, "Write a song about the happiest day of your life." Period. And I was in my 20s at the time this conversation happened, and I couldn't think of a single happiest day of my life, but I thought the day each year consistently full of promise is Opening Day, because the Yankees haven't yet lost. And I was a lifetime Yankee fan. I continue to be, notwithstanding them being the evil empire and me being sort of an underdog affiliated kind of guy. Um, so I wrote about Opening Day at Yankee Stadium, and then put it out on a cassette because it was 1993 or four or five, and I couldn't yet afford to press anything on a CD. And I thought, gee, this would be a fun thing. The Yankees might be interested in it, so I simply mailed it to whatever the radio station was that broadcast them then, CBS, with a handwritten note inside saying you guys might want to use this. And somebody handed it to somebody else at the Yes Network, the Yankees affiliate, and they said, "We'd love to use your song. Here's a licensing agreement." And this shows how excellent a businessman I am. I said, "Oh, okay. Can I have tickets to opening day?" I said, "No, we don't have that available. But we'll send you this T-shirt." They sent me a
Jeez.
T-shirt and a VHS recording of my song being spoken about and being played over highlights of Derek Jeter gunning down a runner at home plate. And I thought,
Oh my
okay,
gosh.
my grandpa would have been happy to see this. That's cool. So I make a few $100s from it every year from streaming. But otherwise, in terms of how to get the attention of the world, first make the art and then see what happens.
There
That's
you go.
really as deep as it goes for me.
Now, album 8 is entitled Bittersweet. I would like to ask you, what is it? What are there some elements in this particular album that stand out to you more so than, let's say, some of the previous? What can people expect from this that's maybe new or different or evolving from you?
I think I've always had these themes floating around my songs. I think these songs are all bittersweet to me because they're celebrating appetite and the fact that of how lucky we are to be here and to be able to explore them. And side two, I called equanimity, which is a pretentious as hell word, but it means a sense of balance. Like we're lucky to have what we have and appreciate it and find what can still have value in the time that we have left. It's like it's kind of hippy dippy, but I think if you were to compare it to my others, it's more focused on those big themes.
I get you. Also, in listening to your music, and maybe it's just me, but I feel like you fall into two or three different genres. So I'm asking the artist himself, how would you classify your music genre-wise?
I think, you have to use current nomenclature, right? Because like in the '90s, it would have been called alternative,
Right.
and that word became meaningless. And in I don't know, at some point it might have been called singer songwriter, but when you think singer songwriter, you think acoustic guitar and angst, which I am about half of the time.
Yes.
I like the word Americana. It's a very broad word. It encompasses music that is American in origin, which I certainly make, and there's room for loud guitars. There's room for country instrumentation, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
So I kind of like Americana roots music, I guess.
Hmm.
By when I first started doing it, and I had a publicist, he called it literate pop, which, all right, I'll take that. I mean, pop means popular. I've never
Yes.
been that, but pop music, okay, I can go for that.
Now, because it is almost November, the year is almost up. Can folks see you anyplace in New Jersey? Where are you playing next?
At the moment, we have nothing on the calendar, but we're definitely going to be playing at Crossroads in Garwood at
Okay.
some point in December and or January. There's a there's a great live venue which is it's half restaurant, half club, the Americana in East Windsor, New Jersey.
Okay.
I'm definitely also going to be playing in the city at some point, probably in January. And I'll post everything on all, social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and my website once we have it all nailed down.
He just answered my question for me. I was going to say, now, if folks are watching today and they want to find Eric Harrison, where are you posting most? Because I think Facebook is kind of secondary to your Instagram and other places.
Yeah, Instagram. I mean, my kids taught me it's more agile. One can be more agile while posting stuff on Instagram. So I'll put stuff out at Eric Harrison Music there and also on Facebook. If you hit the right button, whatever you put on Instagram goes to Facebook anyway. And
Gotcha.
I have affection for that because that's where I accumulated a couple thousand followers when I never expected to during COVID, in large part because people were living on social media. And
Yeah.
that's where I started singing on my porch and getting to know people. And so I never want to walk away from that. But yeah, that's where I'd be putting it.
Along with the website. Don't forget that.
And the website, always updating the website.
And the
Yeah.
name of the website is
EricHarrisonMusic.com.
awesome. And of course, if folks happen to be watching this today and for whatever reason they need some sort of music compilation, what's the easiest way to reach you? Do you want them to just direct to the website or?
Oh, you can, I'm at EricHarrisonMusic@gmail.com, or you can just hit contact us through any of those sources.
I got to say this much. This has been an absolutely fabulous interview. I know that musicians often do not hear this, which is exactly why I take a moment to say this. I don't know if you know this or not, but throughout the course of many years, your contributions have made a difference to the lives of other people, not only mentally, but also emotionally. You, through your words and through your creations, have inspired and engaged and entertained tons of other people. So, despite your constant need to be humble, you probably shouldn't be as humble as you are because you've done a phenomenal job over many years. On top of which, you have an absolutely beautiful family, a great sense of humor, and hopefully an ongoing relationship with Jon Stewart once he sees this interview. Just kidding. I don't have any connection to him. I wish. But the bottom line is thank you so much for making my Sunday and thank you for being a part of the magazine. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Cindy. That's really sweet of you. I appreciate it too.
Absolutely.